The first day we were here, I got a bagel and cream cheese, and it was $12. So I definitely had a little bit of sticker shock.
I mean, if you have to pay $70 for valet parking, you're going to find out very quickly that people don't want to pay $70 for parking.
We used to bring people to Las Vegas based on the value. Now, it's how much can you charge for this? And the visitors don't like it.
A burger costs $40. A hotel room is $300, not including the extra $50 resort fee. A night of enjoying drinks can burn through $1,000. Even an hour of parking, once free, now climbs to $70. These numbers aren't just prices. They feel like a quiet whisper from Las Vegas to the middle class and working people. Sorry, we don't need you anymore. Las Vegas, once hailed as the playground of the people, a place where anyone could find joy, from a cheap buffet to a few dollars in a slot machine. But now, it seems Las Vegas is redefining itself. A luxurious oasis that is only open to the elite, while workers and the middle class, who have nurtured Vegas's glamour for decades, are gradually being pushed to the margins. What happens to a city when it only serves a small portion of the wealthiest population? And if the common people disappear, will Las Vegas still retain the soul that made it legendary? In today's video, we'll explore why Las Vegas is becoming a city just for the rich, and what the fate will be for the middle class and the workers who were once the backbone. The hidden reasons behind it might make you wonder, is Vegas still worth living in? Sad news for those who loved Vegas, and for the entire United States. By 2025, this city will no longer resemble Make America Great Again, but will be transforming into Make American Go Away. Not only are tourists turning away, but even the locals want to escape the absurdly high cost of living here. Just last year, Vegas was still bustling, unbelievably cheap. It used to be a destination for countless bargains. You could lose $100 in the casino and still feel lighthearted, because a hotel night was only $19, an all-you-can-eat buffet was $3.99, and cocktails were always free. Vegas back then was a city where anyone could pretend to be rich and indulge in affordable pleasures. But those days are long gone. Now, an hour of parking, which used to be free, also costs $70. A budget hotel night can cost up to $500. A bottle of water costs a mere $26, while a regular sandwich sets you back $40. From joys that were within everyone's reach, everything suddenly became a luxury item that only the upper class could afford. A loyal visitor from Arizona frankly shared, "I live just over an hour's drive from Vegas and used to visit the city regularly, once a year. But this year, I chose Hong Kong and Japan in March, France and Spain in July, and then Ireland in August. Do you notice where I don't go? And I'm not the only one. The high cost in Vegas doesn't stop at room rates or meals. It also manifests in strange surcharges. Concession fee, service recovery, COVID surcharge, and so on. Some people even found a $45 window fee on their hotel bill. All those numbers don't bring any real value. They only make the bill thicker and the experience more bland. Vegas, in this way, is inadvertently shedding its own soul. A soul once nurtured by the friendliness, accessibility, and shared joy of the majority. Instead, the city seems to be creating an isolated stage solely for the upper class. But is this a wise move, or just a short-term step that pushes Vegas into the very trap it created? Perhaps Vegas hasn't realized a simple paradox. The super-rich make up only 1% of the population, and they are a notoriously fickle customer base. They arrived when the city was still trendy, but that appeal often didn't last very long. Just because Nashville has live music spilling onto the streets, or Austin has exploding festivals and cuisine, they'll immediately shift their focus to other cities. Meanwhile, it was the middle class and the working poor who were the loyal customers. The middle class returns annually, spends consistently, and leaves generous tips for the staff. And the poor workers, The cooks, servers, drivers are the silent engine that keeps the Vegas dream shining. When they are pushed out, the city not only loses visitors, but also loses the soul that defines its identity. Vegas is clearly betting its future on a dangerous game, replacing families who have been coming back for decades, year after year, with a class of one-time visitors who may not return. That's a risky short-term strategy, because when the fleeting halo fades, Vegas may have to face the stark truth. It has, with its own hands, lost the sustainable foundation that nourished the city for decades. If a city once built by the majority now chooses to turn its back on them, can it still maintain its long-term vitality? And when Vegas only has light for the elite and darkness for everyone else, will it still be the city of American dreams? As the high cost of living choked every cog in the city's machinery, the first people to be thrown out of that cycle were the middle class and blue-collar workers, the very people who had kept Vegas alive for decades. A stable roof, a normal job, which seemed so obvious, suddenly became a luxury. That betrayal of memory shook the tourism industry in Vegas. Once called the immortal paradise for all classes, the city now stands on the brink of collapse. In just one night, 4,300 workers lost their jobs, from hotel staff and restaurant servers to casino dealers. For many, losing a job is not just about losing income. It means the risk of being drawn into a cycle of homelessness, as living expenses exceed their ability to pay. Vegas, the master of illusion, has now revealed a harsh truth. The very people who created the magic are the first to be abandoned. That collapse became even more apparent as the illusion of an immortal Vegas dissipated. According to the LVCVA report, the number of tourists decreased by over 12%, reaching only about 3.1 million, which is lower than the crisis period in 2009. The hotel occupancy rate fell to its lowest level in a decade, forcing room prices to be lowered, but this still couldn't save the situation. For a city that once prided itself on being the stage of the American dream, this disappointment feels like a betrayal of trust. Additionally, increasingly strict immigration policies and trade tensions have erected invisible barriers. International tourists, the lifeblood of Vegas, are withdrawing en masse. Canadians, a loyal customer group for many years, decreased by as much as 40% in just 1 year. Mexican tourists, who were once big spenders, are also turning away due to rising costs and a difficult economic situation. Many people believe this is the inevitable price for a city that deliberately eliminates the working class to please the super rich. But upon closer inspection, the truth is much harsher. The consequences didn't fall on the casino towers or the wealthy owners, but on ordinary workers, the people who served in restaurants, cleaned rooms in hotels, and worked at tables in casinos. Now, they are the ones who have to pay the highest price. Over 670,000 Vegas residents are directly affected, especially those working in the tourism industry. Fewer tourists mean a sharp drop in tips, putting pressure on every meal and every utility bill. A restaurant employee, Josefina Heritado, shared that her income dropped from $150 to $200 per day to just $50 to $60. For many, having a job is already lucky, while some places are forced to close completely due to losses. It wasn't just a number. The collapse also took away the community's memory. The Poker Palace, an icon for over 50 years, which grew from a small bar to a 25,000 square foot casino, closed at the end of the fall season. More than 120 employees lost their jobs, and with them, a piece of Vegas history also disappeared. Many veteran workers are choosing to leave the city. A former dealer who worked at the Bellagio, Mirage, and Mandalay, now retired in the Philippines, bitterly revealed, "The real American dream is to leave the United States." Those words are not just personal reflections, but the echo of an entire generation that once placed their faith in Vegas, only to be forced to let go. According to statistics from 8 News Now, there are currently 72,000 unemployed people across the state of Nevada, with most of them concentrated in Vegas. The wheel of fortune stalled, revealing a large gap. The image of Vegas is now like a magnificent tower of cards, but if just one card is removed, the labor force, everything could collapse. If even Vegas, the stage of the American dream, is turning its back on the middle class, what city can still keep its promise of equality? And if the people who created the magic are now forced to leave it, who will the Vegas lights shine for? Strolling down the strip one evening, you'll witness a dizzying array of contrasting sights. At one end of the street, the super-rich sip $1,000 wine in gold-plated casinos, with the bright neon lights from the towering skyscrapers reflecting off them. But just turn down a back alley, and the atmosphere changes completely. Dilapidated tarpaulin tents are crammed together, where workers have to snatch a few winks amidst the noise of traffic and the biting desert wind. Between light and shadow, the gap between rich and poor is more starkly revealed than ever before. Las Vegas has never hidden its true nature. It is a stage. But in 2025, that stage seems to be reserved only for the upper class. Concert performances are now promoted with VIP tickets costing thousands of dollars. Michelin-starred restaurants are booming on the Strip, and gated resorts create oases that only the wealthy can enter. To the rest of society, Vegas became alien. A place that was both too expensive to enjoy and too cold to seek refuge in. Real-life stories reflect this division. On one side are affluent tourists from Europe and Asia, stopping in Vegas as a point of luxury global check-in journey. On the other side are local residents who used to work in hotels or restaurants, but are now unemployed and have set up tents right behind the walls of luxury resorts. This contrast makes the city no longer a shared space, but a series of isolated zones, places that have and places that don't, brightly lit neighborhoods and dark alleys. The question is, which direction will Vegas choose? A path leading to ever deeper isolation, where light is only for the few? Or is there a more harmonious path so the city doesn't lose the roots that made up its initial appeal? Some major hotel corporations like Marriott and Hilton have experimented with flexible pricing models and mixed-use spaces to accommodate both high-end and budget travelers. If Vegas were willing to open up and adopt similar balanced solutions, perhaps it would still have a chance to retain its soul. A city that belongs not only to the wealthy, but where everyone can find a moment of reverie. If Vegas continues to shine only on the elite, leaving the shadows for the majority, what will this city be left with beside a fragile illusion? And can a society be sustainable when even the city of dreams becomes a symbol of division? Las Vegas, the entertainment capital that once promised everyone has a seat at the casino, is now witnessing a stark contrast. On the same boulevard, some pay thousands of dollars for a night in a gold-plated hotel, while just a few steps away, families endure long nights in makeshift tents. The city, originally built to sell illusions, has now become a vivid testament to the nightmare called two parallel worlds. Some observers say that Vegas today is like a magnifying glass reflecting America's fractures. While the wealthy seek safe havens to enjoy themselves, the number of people falling into insecurity is increasing. The 2025 point-in-time count annual report shows that Clark County alone, where Vegas is located, had over 7,906 people experiencing homelessness on any given night, a slight increase from previous years. It's not just statistics, but a reminder that the opulence of Vegas exists right next to deprivation, and these two worlds are only a street apart. This division becomes even more severe when the two worlds exist right next to each other. On the same street, wealthy tourists pay thousands of dollars for a night in a gated resort, while just a few steps away, workers sleep on the cold ground. Vegas once promoted itself as the city for everyone. But today, reality proves the opposite. It is gradually becoming a city of two worlds, separate, opposing, and with almost no overlap. Sociologists believe this phenomenon reflects a familiar cycle: rising living costs, unstable employment, and public services that cannot keep up with demand. As a result, a segment of the population is pushed to the margins of society. As the gap between having and not having widens, Vegas not only faces a humanitarian crisis, but also risks losing its image in the eyes of international tourists, who come to experience diversity, not witness this stark contrast. If Las Vegas continues to maintain two parallel worlds, one brightly lit, the other shrouded in darkness, can this city still be called the capital of the American dream? And more importantly, what lessons will American society learn when the very place that symbolizes glamour becomes a symbol of division? Las Vegas was built on a promise: just set foot in this city, and anyone has the chance to change their life. But behind the bright neon lights and the big win slogans, the truth is far different. That dream didn't come naturally. It is maintained by the sweat, exhaustion, and sometimes the sacrificed futures of thousands of workers hidden in the shadows. From the outside looking in, Vegas might seem like a money-printing machine that never stops. However, the cost of operating it is placed on the shoulders of ordinary people: room attendants, waiters, drivers, or logistics workers. These people never appear in the glamorous picture of advertising, but they are the pieces that keep the Vegas illusion running. And when the city falls into crisis, they are the first to pay the price. According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate in Las Vegas in 2024 hovers around 6.1%, significantly higher than the national average of 3.8%. This seemingly small number hides a harsh reality. Tens of thousands of workers in the service and tourism industries have had their hours cut, lost their health insurance, or are receiving wages so low they can't even cover their living expenses. The price to maintain the Vegas dream isn't just money. They are also forgotten lives, families uprooted from their place in the community. When all resources are poured into pleasing the wealthy clientele, tens of thousands of ordinary workers, who once gave the city its vitality, are left on the sidelines. Some major corporations in the entertainment and hospitality sector have begun to question this model. MGM Resorts, for example, once implemented a tuition assistance and vocational training program for employees, aiming to help them stay in the industry or change careers. If these solutions are scaled up, Las Vegas could regain its balance, a city that not only thrives on opulent dreams, but also cherishes the people who have silently sacrificed to keep that light shining. Can a city be called paradise if the price of its existence is paid with the despair of the very people who built it? And if the Vegas dream is only for the wealthy, how many people will still want to play that game? Perhaps never before has Vegas exposed its vulnerability so starkly. A city that once thrived on throngs of tourists is now self-destructing from within. The collapse of the tourism industry doesn't stop at empty hotel rooms or unused blackjack tables. It creates a cascading domino effect. Job losses, housing insecurity, community breakdown, and then leads to crime, disease, and unprecedented social burdens. In a city where the majority of the workforce relies on the service industry, just one broken link can shake the entire system. When tourists are few, jobs disappear. When jobs disappear, the ability to pay rent disappears with them. Families forced to leave their apartments, seeking shelter in tent camps, have triggered a new cycle: children out of school, declining health, and rising crime rates. This collapse is no longer limited to the tourism sector. When tens of thousands of workers lose their jobs, they not only stop spending money in casinos or restaurants, but they are also unable to maintain their daily lives, shopping, paying for services, participating in community activities. The local economy therefore gradually shrank, revealing a large gap in a development model that was overly dependent on a single industry. A city that once prided itself on its ability to create illusions now faces the risk of losing its grounding in reality. And the bitter truth is, the wealthy, who make up only a small portion of the population, can easily leave to find joy elsewhere. Meanwhile, it is the local people themselves who are left amidst the rubble of a domino effect that no one can control. Some large corporations have seen this danger. Caesars Entertainment, for example, has piloted programs in collaboration with non-profit organizations to provide temporary housing and healthcare services for employees whose hours have been reduced. Such solutions are not only humanitarian, but also a way to prevent the city from disintegrating from within. Can Las Vegas keep its neon lights shining if its social foundation is slowly cracking? And once the domino effect has begun, how much time does the city have to prevent the whole house of cards from collapsing? Imagine a city built like a luxurious oasis in the desert. Gleaming glass towers, suites costing tens of thousands of dollars per night, and casinos open only to the wealthiest players. That could be the future of Las Vegas if current trends continue. A city once proud to be a playground for all will gradually transform into a closed club for billionaires and millionaires. However, the question is, how long will that oasis last when the people who run it, from the waitstaff, chefs, and drivers to the technical team, have gradually disappeared from the map? Can a city that only has dazzling lights but no longer has a human heart survive for long? The Diamond Oasis scenario is not a far-fetched fantasy. Economic experts warn that when a city is overly reliant on the ultra-wealthy, its appeal becomes fragile and prone to collapse. The upper class is inherently mobile. They might choose Vegas today, but tomorrow it's Monaco or Macau. Meanwhile, the working class families who used to return to Vegas every year, spending consistently, tipping generously, and fostering community spirit, are gradually disappearing. A city only for the wealthy is not only economically imbalanced, but also creates dangerous social divisions. When local residents are pushed out of the center, communities disintegrate, leaving behind brightly lit neighborhoods that lack the breath of everyday life. And a city lacking a sense of community is unlikely to sustain its vitality for long, no matter how bright the neon lights may be. The solution cannot simply be to open more luxurious resorts. Some large corporations like Wynn Resorts have begun piloting employee housing policies, offering mental health services and flexible benefits packages to retain workers. This could be an important step for Vegas to consider, reinvesting in its people, the links that keep the Vegas dream shining. Can Las Vegas survive as a diamond oasis without the human hands that illuminated it? And a city just for the wealthiest 1%, is it still a city? Or just a mirror reflecting the fragility of the American dream? Las Vegas was once called the stage of the American dream, where the lights were bright enough to obscure all limitations. But as that dream gradually closed for the middle class and working people, the city risked becoming a luxurious but empty oasis. How long will a stage reserved for the wealthiest 1% shine brightly if those who once operated it are now absent from the audience? Can a city truly exist if it's built solely on the dreams of a few? And if Vegas has chosen the path of isolation, is there anywhere else in America that can keep the promise that everyone has a place in this dream? If you find this video thought-provoking, please like it, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel to join us on our future journeys. The content in this video is based on public reports, data from reliable sources, and on-the-ground observations. However, this is not a comprehensive or absolutely accurate account of every aspect of Las Vegas. Some details, examples, and stories are presented in a generalized form to illustrate broader social phenomena, and are not intended to assign blame to any specific individual, organization, or government. The video aims to inform, analyze, and stimulate community reflection, and is not intended to be definitive or replace official reports. Viewers should consult other independent sources before drawing their own conclusions.